Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Full on Drama. Today I have brought you 6 Am I the Asshole Reddit stories. Story 1. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she has to understand that choosing this wedding date would result in my family not going? 2 years ago, my brother, my nephew and my mother were in a car accident. My mother died instantly. My brother and nephew passed away the next day. My family was small: me, my husband, daughter, parents, brother, wife and 2 nephews. Their loss was devastating for my life and for everyone, even worse for my father and my sister-in-law. 1 year ago, my daughter, Betty 25 female was proposed by her fiancé and preparations began. During this process, they chose the date based on the day they met added 7 years ago, and that day is exactly 2 years since the death of my brother and nephew. I tried to talk to her about moving, because it is still a very difficult date for our family and even for myself, but she insisted, saying that the venue had that date available and it would be perfect, because all the other available dates aren't so good and wouldn't be so important. I respected her decision. Recently, she sent the invitations to everyone and, as I predicted, my sister-in-law, my nephew 24 male, and my father responded that they would not attend, and despite not telling her, my father and sister-in-law told me that the date choice was sound and offense to them. I decided to remain neutral at some point. I confirmed my presence and my husband. Today, my daughter called me unhappy that no one but us confirmed my husband doesn't have family on his side, and her family part was empty, and she expected everyone to go on that date, even more so after she explained the reason to them about the date. But they still refused. I tried to be supportive, but I said, "Love, this date is difficult even for me, but I will go to your wedding. But you have to understand that this choice of date had this consequence, and you would have to deal with the consequences of your choices." She exploded at me, saying that everyone was against her. It's not her fault the dates coincided, and everyone could make an effort to go a few hours for her. But they decided to just not go, and I was basically saying, "I told you so." She hung up without me answering, and we still haven't spoken. My husband said he understands me, but I should have stayed away from it. So, am I the asshole? Story 2. Am I the asshole for refusing to attend my brother's wedding if my partner isn't invited? My 34 female brother 36 male is getting married this year. My invite arrived this week, and it was conspicuously didn't name my girlfriend 32 female of 5 years, or mention a one. I messaged him to RSVP and asked if she could come too. He said there was a hard limit on numbers due to catering, so they'd had to be selective about invites, and our other sister didn't get a one either. She's currently single though. His wedding isn't huge, maybe 100 people, but his excuse sat a little weird with me, so I asked around. It turns out every other family member in a relationship has their partner invited, including cousins he's not close with, other unmarried couples, etc. It's hard not to think it's because I'm the only openly queer person in the family. When I first came out, my family reacted very badly, but over the years I thought things had thawed a little. My brother even agreed to meet my girlfriend a couple of years ago, and it seemed to go fine. I messaged him again and thanked him for the invitation, but said I wouldn't come unless my girlfriend could too. Now my mom is telling me that I'm being totally unreasonable, and that it's his wedding, and I'm making it about myself by being demanding, etc. I know it's his wedding and he can invite who he likes, and I'm not trying to start a fight, but honestly I hate the idea of going to another family event where I'm expected to hide who I am to keep the peace. So, am I the asshole? Story 3. Am I the asshole for asking my dad to think of our grief of our mom when planning his wedding to new fiancé? 2 years ago my mom died from cancer. She was very young, in her late 50s. My parents were married and happy. Of course it was so hard for all us. In under a year he met a new woman and then months later announced they're engaged. It's a short engagement, about 8-9 months from getting engaged till the actual wedding. I do understand a lot of people, seemingly more widowed men from stories of others, have told me find someone very quickly and often be remarried before a year even. So I'm trying not to be naive here. For my siblings and it has been a little strange as for us, as we are still processing the death of our mother, but also the new fiancé is only a few years older than me and my sister, who are the eldest. We've tried our best to make an effort to be happy for him and be welcoming to her, all while processing our grief. My issue is that he's so wrapped up with his new fiancé that he's forgotten we are still grieving. To the point that on the 2-year anniversary of our mom's death, 3 of us got their wedding invite in the post while the others the day after. It hurt all of us that they didn't think about this date in the days or week leading up to it, but I decided to leave it as I didn't want to taint their joy. He sent a message to my grandma, my mom's mom, out of the blue, after no contact since the funeral. I was with my grandma at the time, asking for their address so he could send them an invite the day after the anniversary. Hence, we were with my grandparents to support each other, not asking how they were at this time or how they were coping with loss of their daughter or whether they'd be okay with an invite. Just stating they were being invited and he needed their address. My dear grandma said she'd like to attend for our sake, though my granddad refused point blank and was too upset to talk further. A month later, me and my sisters were added to the Hen Do WhatsApp group with all new fiancé's friends, all now chatting excitedly and planning the hen. For us, that was another pang of heartache, as we are only in this position cause our mom pretty recently died. Here's where I'm wondering if am I the asshole. I sent my dad a message to say I'm happy for him, but feel they've not though about our grief and would have liked to be asked first before being added to a hen group. But most importantly, remember certain dates, that is the anniversary, and not send wedding invites in the days or week before this time. He replied saying, sorry, not being thoughtful enough. Lil, make sure to check with you beforehand. Not it might have been insensitive to send his kids wedding invites just before the anniversary. I said I don't want him to run everything by me. Just remember we're grieving. Then he blamed the post and said that it wasn't their fault it arrived on the day. Now I think he's avoiding me. So, am I the asshole for putting a dampener on their wedding by highlighting our grief? Story 4. Am I the asshole for not wanting to stay at my sister's beach house for her wedding? My sister, 26, is getting married to her high school sweetheart, also 26, in 2025. They are planning on a destination-style wedding with around 50 guests to Florida. Sister is looking for a large beach house that can hold 14 of her closest family members for the week of their wedding. Among the houses she has found that are within walking distance to the beach and hold all of us will cost each person around $1,000. When going through the houses she was deciding on, she states that my boyfriend and I, both 25 years old, will have to share a room with either my grandmother or my 2 younger brothers, ages 16 and 6, because of the number of beds in the house. At first, I was taken back by the price, as both me and my boyfriend will have to pay the $1,000 plus sharing a room with someone else, but after having a conversation with my sister and her fiancé, I felt like I had no other choice but to suck it up, having to pay the costs, as she expressed she would only be getting married once, and our mother had already expressed it was a little pricey, which annoyed her. Background info: my boyfriend and I just bought a house a few months back now, after speaking about costs with my boyfriend, as he was not there during the initial conversation. I am starting to worry about the cost of staying at the beach house. As I am the sister of the bride and maid of honor, I will have additional costs such as nails, dress, spray tan, flights to Florida, food for the week, bachelorette party, etc. I texted my sister saying that after thinking about all of these costs, I am worried about the beach house, and gave a suggestion that my boyfriend and I could rent an Airbnb that we found 8 minutes away from where they would be staying, which would cost us $1,300 for the week to split $650 each. This upset her greatly, with my mom telling me she was crying that I didn't want to stay with them, and my sister telling me that she's upset we went ahead and decided we would rather stay in a separate house than be together. She says everyone is making sacrifices and sharing rooms, and she's been trying her best to keep everyone's best interest in mind when it comes to cost and space. She says that they will not be asking for the payment right away, with a 50% deposit at the time of booking and then the rest 2 months prior to the vacation, which can help with upfront costs. In all, I don't think she's understanding that her want of having us all under the same roof is not possible without being too costly, and I don't see the issue with us getting our own place 8 minutes from them to help cut costs. I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of deciding to get a separate house with my boyfriend or sucking it up and spending the extra money for the beach house. So, am I the asshole? Story 5. Am I the asshole for refusing to wear a dress to my mother's wedding? Recently, my family was sitting in the living room discussing plans for my mother and her new partner's wedding. The wedding will not be anytime soon, as they are not yet engaged and are in poor financial condition. Still, they are both dreamers and like to talk about and make plans for things far into the future. Everything was going fine and the conversation was very pleasant. We discussed the typical things like what kind of flowers they would like, what season the wedding would be held in, and so on. Then we got to the topic of attire. My mother made it very clear that she would like her bridesmaids to wear short dresses with floral designs. She immediately looked towards me as she knew I would be against wearing a dress for multiple personal reasons. At first, I thought she was going to say that of course I wouldn't have to wear one and that we would find a matching alternative, but she just kept staring. So I spoke up and said, I don't want to wear a dress. She went on to say how it was her dream wedding and that I would essentially ruin the vision. I listed off multiple alternatives such as a pantsuit, tuxedo, anything but a dress. I want to make it clear that I am willing to wear any color, pattern, design, etc., just not something that opens at the bottom like a dress or skirt. My mom's happiness and her wedding are very important to me, but I cannot shift my boundaries on this. My sister says that I'm stubborn and selfish. She says I should have no problem just wearing a dress for a few hours, but I do. My family knows why I have this boundary and I thought they would be more understanding. So, am I the asshole? Story 6. Am I the asshole for not wanting my step-niece in my wedding even though my nephews are? Background: my bio-nephews are 8-10 years old. When they were 4, their parents went through a very messy divorce, and as a result I took them in for 3 years. I'm not going to go into detail, but my brother became a drunk and the mom didn't want anything to do with them, so that's why I took them in. I met my husband through the school they go to because his daughter is in the same class. During the 3rd year, my brother got married to his wife who has a daughter with terrible manners. She is 9, so she is old enough, but she is kid who will throw a tantrum at events when it's not about her. Example: she blew the candles on my nephew's birthday and when he cried he got reprimanded. I took them out the next day so he could blow his candles. Keep in mind my brother still isn't making an effort with his own kids. Towards the end of the year he demanded to have his kids back, and because of how the court arranged it he was able to keep custody. I however still attended everything because the boys want me to. I never bonded with his wife or daughter because Sil is rude and is very passive-aggressive. I have made efforts by invited them to my house to bond, but she ripped up my husband's daughter's favorite doll and then Sil got mad at me for reprimanding her. My wedding: my daughter is going to be the only one in wedding party as a flower girl and my nephews are the ring bearers. We have a no kids rule, so that means no step niece, as I know that she will throw a tantrum at my ceremony. The main issue is that she wants to be part of my wedding as a flower girl. My answer is no because I want my daughter to feel special. And TBH, she isn't important enough to me to want her in my wedding. Her mother is demanding that her daughter be a flower girl or my nephews won't be taking part. That I'm hurting a child feeling by excluding her. It's not that I want to exclude her, it's just that I know she is going to throw a temper tantrum the moment she knows she's not the center of attention, because no matter what she does that. I told my brother that if this happens, I will cut off all financial support I have given them, which he said was not fair. Keep in mind, I would be paying for a babysitter at the hotel, and I have chosen a venue that's close to a theme park, so while the ceremony goes on, she will be there, and then my daughter and nephews will join them for the rest of the time, and then go back to the hotel to go to bed, and everything, while the reception goes through. Because this is a destination wedding, I will be paying for my parents' and brother's room, and a babysitter, which I think is generous and way more fun than being in a wedding, which can be stressful. My brother is telling me to sort it out with sister-in-law, and my parents understand me but told me to let it go. My daughter wants to be the only flower girl but wants my nephews, and they cried when they thought they couldn't be a part of the wedding. Also, I'm not going to cut a financially support because that will just affect my nephews more than anyone. By the way, the financial support I give is paying for school bills such as extracurriculars, tutoring, and the cloths and shoes and school supplies to my nephews. My brother has always wanted to be a girl's dad, so I think he just pays for general stuff, but leave my nephews to fend for themselves. Also, I do have a trust fund for them to open at 18, so don't worry about that. So, am I the asshole? Please like, share, and subscribe.